Morning, Robert. Can you hear that crackling?
Is there a crackling now?
Oh, and I can't hear you.
I think it's. Can anyone
I
else hear
still hear
me?
crackling.
There's a crackling?
Yeah, something shortened out. Robert, your voice isn't coming through now, and there's a dirty pod or something.
How about that now?
That did it. That worked.
Thank you. The plug to the microphone was loose. I
Good.
tell you. Wouldn't it be nice if that could fix all kinds of other things? Like the neurotic mind. I'm sorry, my brain is not plugged in adequately this morning. Just a moment, please. I used to have bad headaches for decades, and I used to kind of wish, I wish I could just take something out and scrub it and just do something to get rid of it. Well, hi. I am, as I usually expect, believing I am Robert Beatty this morning. I am convinced by my watch that it is Wednesday, the 19th of May, 2021. I am coming to you from a smallish city on the west coast of the United States, Portland, Oregon, on a tiny planet which circles a small, very small, relatively yellow sun, which is about 100,000 light years from the center of its own galaxy, which is one among hundreds of billions of galaxies. That's an amazing orientation, isn't it? Another way of putting it might be that there is a consciousness present that somehow or another takes this body to belong to it. And it's aware of itself. So many things we take for granted. I'm drawn this morning to share a poem that I read not so many months ago, but the truth of it is shining brightly this morning. And it's one of those poems, and I usually try to work with the gender in poems and balance it for male and female, and try to go to the they and so on. But I can't really with this one because it would get just too messy. So I hope you can bear with that and use your auto translator. Normally we put it in a box. Well, that's Shakespeare. Right, I know now. What if we, instead of that, heard this as, this is the world, this is a poem from an awakened being, describing the world as they see it. So I'm sitting, being aware of sitting here, seeing you, feeling grateful, feeling particularly awake this morning, rested. All the world's a stage. And all the men and women are merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one person in their time plays many parts, their acts being 7 ages. At first, the infant mewling and puking in the nurse's arms. And then the whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face creeping like snail unwillingly to school. And then the lover, sighing like furnace with a woeful ballad made to his mistress's eyebrow. Then a soldier, full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation, even in the cannon's mouth. And then the justice, in fair round belly with good capon lined, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances. And so he plays his part. The sixth age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon. With spectacles on nose and pouch on side, his youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank. And his big manly voice turning again toward childish treble, pipes and whistles in his sound. Last scene of all that ends this strange, eventful history is second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. This morning I wake up. I pull on my somebody suit. There are certain relationships that I'm in, including this one. There are certain habits and patterns. The glass of water before the coffee. A little bit of stretching. Then there's the roles that we get to play. We've signed up for some pretty potent roles. And while we're on the stage, we age. Quite something, isn't it?
Robert,
Yeah.
probably your voice needs to come up a little bit.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to try something quite different. Let me try this. And you remember Monty Python? And now for something completely different. Hang on, let's see if this will make a difference. How's that sound now? I bet it's a really different.
It's a better sound and much louder.
Okay. This broadcast is being brought to you through the Yeti microphone. Oh dear, my sense of humor is working this morning. It all seems utterly absurd. But let's get serious. This is spiritual practice. So we have another day to practice. What shall we do with it? I take refuge in the Buddha, the one who shows me the way in this life. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya. I take refuge in the Dharma, the way of understanding and love. Namo Dharmaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Dharmaya. take refuge in the Sangha, the community of mindful harmony. Namo Sangaya, Namo Sangaya, Namo Sangaya. Please let us remember to be awake in this moment and all the moments of this particular transit of the sun across the sky. Of course, we can't practice in any other moment than now. So what's happening now? There is, in fact, a body sitting here, or at least so it seems. It's alive. It had a moment of conception, and then birth, and then somebody training, and now it's here, sitting. And because it's alive, it breathes. Each breath comes out of nowhere. It rises to fullness. It changes direction. It falls away. And it vanishes. And what is it that the world is for us in the present moment? There is a radical, life-changing realization that what we have always is the experience at the six senses right now. If the eyes are closed, there might still be a little light for seeing. There are some sounds and hearing. There might be some odor, some smell, some residual taste in the mouth. There are lots of sensations in the body. From the feet to the legs, to the many places that clothing touches the body. To the life of the hands, to the coming and going of the breath in the chest and abdomen. To the face. To the scalp and the crown of the head. It's all alive, isn't it? Body sensations. And there's one more sense door where a lot of our life experience occurs. And we know that as the mind door. And here there are thoughts, desires and disliking. It's the realm of worry and agitation and planning, the past and future. The realm of mood. It's a realm of profound identification, usually. In awakening, we begin increasingly to notice thoughts as thoughts. The wandering mind as the wandering mind. From Ajahn Chah, a great forest master of the last century, we receive a very precious, simple teaching. In order to bring life, to bring your meditation practice into perfect balance, just remember this. This moment is like this. It's like this. There may be strong concentration or no concentration. The mind might be in bliss or tormented by worry. They could be strong or weak or very minor, liking or disliking. And so we can use in-breathing and out-breathing as a guide, as a place to rest the mind. But let's not have a war with the mind. It's pointless. It's like having a war with the tide or the seasons. Instead, resting in the present moment with this in-breath, with this out-breath. there is a pattern of falling into trance states. The trance of the past, perhaps rehashing an old conversation or wishing something hadn't happened or had happened, or very elaborate stories sometimes. We humans are capable of hanging onto grudges and even passing them on to our children so that our grandchildren can have similar grudges. And there's the trance of worry, unconsciously creating images of a dangerous or tragic future. And we create a self out of this. All it takes is an instant, less than an instant, of waking up from these dreams. And where are we? We're right here. We are in the now. We are sitting. The mind is as it is right now. And in this emergence, moment by moment, we can plant some seeds in addition to mindfulness and curiosity, tranquility, and concentration, joy. We can also create an intention of great acceptance, profound acceptance. I aspire to love and accept myself exactly as I discover this self to be in this moment. Exactly as I am, warts and all, compulsions and addictions and all. Unskillful actions in the past and present and all. When I'm hurting, no matter how I'm hurting, when I'm suffering, I aspire to hold myself in sweet compassion. When I can, to the degree of my ability, I aspire to let go of and forgive myself for actions in the past that caused myself or others harm. Reaffirming not to do such things again, but wasting no more time on shame and remorse, guilt. I aspire to let go of all grudges, all old ancient hatreds and dislikings, prejudices, so that when they come to consciousness, they can be seen for what they are, thoughts of the past, emotions of the past. And with a similar energy, we can think a kind thought, not magically to change someone else, but to change ourselves. Think about someone you love and love easily. Wish them well, imagine them well. Surround them with golden or white light. Remember the next time you see them to tell them how precious they are to you. Or if that's not acceptable somehow, then just to know it the next time you see them. And preparing now to come back to the world of seeing and activity. Notice the body that sits here in its aliveness. And notice what's required, an intention to let the eyes open. And then to, in fact, operationalize that and let them open, and doing so with the eyes of blessing, the eyes of compassion. Seeing. and letting the possibility exist that someone is looking at you, seeing you. And they may not know anything about you except they know that you hurt sometimes a lot. And they wrap their Dharma arms around you. Quite safe for COVID at this point, through the computer. Such a relief to go through the world with love and compassion. All I have to do is remember. So a word to those of you on Facebook and YouTube. You have once again a green screen behind me. It's not very pretty. For a while there, when I was doing the guided meditation and I removed all the pictures from my screen, I had you with my living room background. We do that because of confidentiality, not wanting the faces and names of the Zoom people to be out there on the mass media. So if you'd like to join us, come and join at, if you go to robertbeatty.com, BEATTY.com, you will find a link there and you can come and join us on Zoom. There are on the chat 2 links. One, which is the link to, if you wish, to make a financial contribution to PIMC. And in this case, it's earmarked. Oh, I hate that word, earmarked. It is directed to be attributed to this class. The bookkeeping people like that. So why would you do that? Well, why not? But better than that, if this gathering is of use to you and strengthening of you, then you might help someone else get in the door. You might help these broadcasts continue and all the other things that are happening at PIMC. And it's a way of practicing generosity, which is the way. The other link is to my retreat, my possible retreat at Hollyhock in September. I don't know, though the days and weeks are passing and the Canadian vaccination process is really bad. Very slow, and they're having very severe outbreaks in various places. It's so interesting how different it is in different parts of the world. It's remarkable. So, I think I'm done. And I'm wondering what you have to share. Oh, you don't see the retreat link, Amy says. Funny, normally I don't. Oh. Huh. Well, how do you like that? All right. Let me quickly pull it up. I thought I had done that. Where is it? Hollyhock. I wonder if I deleted it. Oh, no, here it is. I have a master list of such things. Copy this, chat. Close the chat. Okay, here it is. Hollyhock's a gorgeous, wonderful retreat center. It's on an island. It's on Cortez Island. In order to get there, somewhere or another, you need to get to Campbell River, which is 2 ferries from here, or a flight into Campbell River. And then from Campbell River, they have transport to get you to Hollyhock. But if you're driving, you take 2 ferries. You take a ferry to get to Vancouver Island, and then you drive up the island, and then you take 2 ferries from there to Quadra and then to Cortez to be on the island. And it's a lovely pilgrimage, actually, to drive. So, what's up in your world?
Robert?
Hello, B.
Hi. I just wanted to mention, I think there's also monthly metta for racial justice this evening.
Oh,
Is that
good.
Yeah, the link's on the PIMC site. I don't have it right here, but from 6 to 7.
Great. Thank you. That's a really interesting project that some of the people at PIMC are doing, in which they select a BIPOC organization, and then they find out about it, and they present that, and we do some loving kindness meditation, compassion practice, and then also show how you can contribute and help that organization flourish. So it's a very simple and straightforward way of involvement. Uh-oh. Leanne says, wasn't that canceled this month? I don't know. I can't keep up with it. I know Tiffany is away on vacation, so that might be true. I don't know. That reminds me of a beautiful spiritual teaching I received once in a van in Bali. It would be a long time. It would be 31 years ago. I was riding from the airport to Ubud in a van with a Sufi teacher and my family. And I was fairly new to teaching, and I was talking about feeling insecure about it. Of course, how sensible. But there was something, I said something about, I'm clearly not a Buddha. I don't know everything by any means. And he said, oh, that's really easy. When someone asks you a question about something you don't know about, you say, gosh, I don't know. Hugely relieving. I don't know. And there's an addition to that's grown over the years, which is when I can, I like to say, this is what the Buddhist teachings say. And, well, it's like rebirth. The Buddhist teachings have, at least a lot of the teachings, have an emphasis on birth, a rebirth, dying from this life, being born in another life. And and I can teach that, but my true understanding of it is I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure anybody knows, quite honestly, but that's conjecture again. I do know that this moment passes away with quite regularity. All right, I'll be quiet now.
Robert.
Hello, Kimberly.
Hello. Hi, Sangha. So, I've had a great opportunity for watching my thoughts and my mind the past couple of weeks. I have metastatic breast cancer and have had it for 8 years, and it's been mostly quiet that whole time until the last 3 or 4, I guess in January we found it again. And the thoughts that go through this mind as I'm doing treatment and scanning and reading reports that are released to me before my doctor gets a chance to talk to me about them, and it's been helpful to have heard so many times now that we are not our thoughts, because so many times during this process, my thoughts are not real. They're not based in what's happening in my body. They're based on what I think might be happening in my body, or what a doctor says, but a test doesn't verify. And so much of it is made up, made up of my own fears and made up of doctors not knowing. And so it's really that this piece of the testing and assessing where the cancer is and how it's spreading is really difficult, but would be much more difficult without having found this group and having found meditation, where I can sometimes observe that those thoughts are the same type of thoughts that I have every other day when I sit down and meditate, and can look at those thoughts and say, that's not me. Those are my thoughts. So, and sometimes I get completely freaked out and scared and extrapolate into the future and try and plan and control and all the things that we do in other pieces of life. And clearly this one is one that I don't have much control over. So it's helpful to have these teachings and some tools, and there's more to learn that can help as well. But it's lovely to come and see all of your faces, thinking about similar things in your own life and what goes through your minds and looking at your thoughts.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Robert, it's Tamara. May I say something?
Of course. Hi, Tamara.
Hi, Kimberly. I just wanted to say I actually have something in my hand right now. Speaking of going through hard things, I almost died. My appendix burst, and they couldn't even find it. And then I had another surgery. Somewhere, a different type of surgery. But both times I have this in my hand, a little rose quartz angel. And she was with me during those surgeries. And furthermore, I loaned her to neighbors across the street, Joe and his wife Bessie. She had the same cancer that she went through. And this little angel, her husband, took was with her through her surgery and all of that. I loaned her to him, and she's doing really well. She's thriving now. I just wanted you to know that never ever alone. You're never alone. So that's just that's a good thought to have, to not try and push out of your mind. So I just wanted to share that with you and your kitty cat.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah.
Hey, Robert, it's Darcy.
Hi, Darcy.
I was wanting to ask the Sangha and you for some feedback. Thinking about yesterday when we were talking about picking up the needle and changing the track, or the example of the broadcaster and changing the channel.
Yes.
I feel like I can be pretty successful with that. But when you actually want to make whatever is bothering you the object of your meditation, or you really pick up the needle, I don't really know how to go about concentrating on emotional distress the same way that I can sit in meditation and have pain in my knee but not move and just kind of sit with the pain. How do you sit with the emotional pain without saying, it becomes rumination for me, like I'm indignant, I feel this way because I have reason, or I'm mad, or I was injured, or I don't know how to skillfully sit with that without language ruminating and reinforcing it the same way I can with like pain in my knee. And
Beautiful question. As you were speaking, did you notice that you took your hand and touched it a little above your heart?
Yeah, I guess.
It doesn't matter whether you did or didn't. I want to propose this, that um, when the mind is in uproar like that, when there's strong feelings, strong emotions, there's the emotion and there's thinking, and they're quite separate. They're the same cloth, but it's possible to tune in on the body base of the emotion. And because all emotions have a physical base, if you're having an emotion and you can't find it in your body, it's because there's a wall in the way. There's some denial, because it has to. It arises because of biology. They're bioelectronic phenomena. So if you can find ask yourself, so where am I? Maybe it's outrage or irritation or whatever it is. It's agitation. Find it in the body and then take that as your secondary object. Really study that. Come into that and watch how the mind does its mind trip. The classic example for myself was a physical thing, but I've done it thousands of times since when I had kidney stones in India way back when. And I'd been practicing for 6 weeks and my concentration was really high. And I discovered I could pay attention to the pain, which I didn't know what it was. I could pay attention to the pain. It was very distinct. But there was also, oh no, I'm going to die in India, and I want my mommy, and all this thinking was happening. But they were intimately connected, but not the same thing. And so finding the body base is the doorway with that. Now, sometimes some of us are very much in touch with the body base, and we have no idea what we're thinking. And for such a person then, or at any of us at a different time, it sometimes then makes sense to really study, so what are the thoughts that are associated with this? And one of the classic ones that comes from nonviolent communication is the practice of enemy imaging, where we've got an enemy and we're telling ourselves a story about how awful this person is, and it's very useful to be able to notice that, and then to see what other thoughts there are. Self-hatred is another one of those. The fundamental reality is none of this is who we are, and it's all possible to be. It's possible to observe it all with equanimity as it arises and passes away. But we have a lot of denial, a lot of avoidance, a lot of ways we intoxicate ourselves and stay distracted. Is that making sense?
Yeah, that's really helpful actually, because I didn't want to create a new habit of reinforcing the negative feeling by making it the object of my meditation. But yesterday I was actually meditating and I automatically, like, self-soothing kind of did that. And I was here felt anger, and then I moved down and like here felt fear. And it was kind of saying, rephrasing that or reframing that to say that's the doorway to not ruminate is actually. Thank you.
And when feeling emotions in the body, notice any talk about the emotions, any self-talk as self-talk. It's just more talk. Because there's nothing to figure out. We always want to figure something out, but to simply be as we discover we can be with the emotion in the body, it becomes really interesting, and it becomes really obvious that it is impermanent, unsatisfactory, and that there's no one having it. It's just a feeling. It's just an experience.
It takes a little practice.
Yeah, well, I think for the rest of our lives.
But it's good to have a direction to know that I can like set my compass to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and what's astounding about it is that there's a way that somehow or another, as our meditation develops, we come to have a hand on the tiller. It's not a big tiller, but we can make some choices apparently on what to attend to. And if we're lost in thinking, then that won't help. Well, though, sometimes we have the capacity to notice, oh, here's all this thinking. Thank you for sharing. You don't have to stop that either. It's just thinking. And the mind thinks up a storm. Good?
Yeah, thank you. That was helpful.
Robert,
I hear Tim.
you do. There's a skillful question that I got somewhere from some Dharma teacher, maybe you, regarding what we were talking about. That works for me, and it's asked, how do I know that I'm angry, frightened, whatever it is? How do I know that I'm angry? I'll go, I see. Okay, I'm angry intellectually, and then it's kind of what you're talking about with the body. Well, how do I know that I'm angry? Kind of like, what are the symptoms?
Right.
And I find that clarifying sometimes.
It's an extraordinarily important capacity to be able to, for instance, use the breath and actually experience the sensations of breathing as, in quotes, real. To notice that there are sensations, that the word breath, in French, breath is l'esprit, interestingly, the spirit. Same word as spirit. But to go beneath or before the word breath and experience the sensations, the raw body sensations. Or even this, maybe take a hand if you want to try it. Take a hand and stroke your hand with the other hand and just feel the sensations. Just the sensations. Or even more fun would be to take your hand and stroke your cheek and notice that the stroking, the actual experience has nothing to do with fingers or cheek, right? It's an experience that happens, which is discernible, it's notable. And then we could think a thought, oh, my fingers are stroking my cheek. But you can see how that's getting up into abstraction. That's completely not needed for the experience. The experience is there's contact, touching. And then we could get into, oh, that feels really nice. It feels sort of sweet. It feels a little itchy. All this talk. Well, come back to the simplicity. This is touching. This is one of the things Ruth Dennison would do with us really ad nauseum. We'd stand, for instance, and she'd say, take your arms, you can't see my arms very well, take your arm and then lift it up and then let it come down. And lift it up and let it come down. And be in the sensations of your arm moving. It's nothing more than this and this. And the more that we can do that, the more we can have bare attention to the sensations in the arm, then we can notice thoughts. And thoughts are a completely separate doorway. And as we start to be able to delineate, determine, to notice thoughts, there's all these levels of freedom that we get more and more and more. Because we start taking our thoughts much less seriously. They're just thoughts. And thoughts tell these stories, and then we have a self that's busy in a story of the past or the future, or that's the kind of differentiation that I hear you making, Kimberly, that you're really seeing your thoughts as thoughts. And what a relief to not, the two arrow story from the Buddha. There's the pain and suffering there's the pain of life. That's the first arrow, the first noble truth. But then there's sticking the second arrow in and making it much worse because we're disliking what's happening, or we're wanting it not to happen, or we're then amplifying the suffering. We're creating suffering by the attitude that we have in mind. And that can all become more and more visible. So this is suffering just...
Yeah, I'd like to do the second arrow too, and then observe it after still.
Say what do you mean?
I oftentimes don't see it until I've already stuck the second arrow in and suffered and spent a week worrying, and then later I can look and say, oh, that was a thought.
Right.
I thought it was the truth, but I didn't.
Yep. Yeah, the second arrow. Well, lovely discussion. I'm having a bad hair day, I see. Hang on. There. Lovely discussion. How fortunate we are to have this teaching.
And this is Mary Kay. I just feel so fortunate to have this Sangha, and I am so grateful for the sharing. It's always scary to share. It helps so much. Thanks.
Thanks, Mary Kay.
Yeah. Robert, this is Pamela.
Hello, Pamela.
And I just want to thank Darcy and Kimberly in particular, and everyone else. The conversation has just been so helpful. My mind has been jumbled with thoughts and very distracted because of some things I'm dealing with, and just hearing, being reminded of what to do and what to do with those distracting thoughts is just very helpful. So
yay.
Sharing is really helpful for others. Thank you.
Are you completely over COVID finally?
I think so. There are a couple of symptoms that I don't know, maybe permanent. I don't know. We'll see. There's a couple of good things that have come out of it. You know what Raynaud's is?
Yeah.
That has increased enormously since.
Oh.
So that's a drag.
Do you get the line across your fingers?
Yeah.
Like my Jennifer has that too. It's not even cold out, really, and all of a sudden she says, "Oh, it's happening," and there's this the blood all withdraws, and I don't know how her fingers get colder than ambient temperature. It's like they've got a refrigerator in there.
Yes. So, but mostly, I'm healthy. I'm good. Going for a walk today. Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I want to share this little piece just before we go, which is that Jen and I purchased a car. We purchased half a car. My stepson paid for the other half. He's been saving his allowance for a long time, and we bought a really nice Toyota Corolla, 2009. But that's not the point of the story. It's great to have. He's got a job now. He needs his own car. But we bought it from the fellow who sold it. Was this incredibly lovely 30-year-old man from Azerbaijan. He's been here since he was 19, I guess. Speaks with a strong accent. And I was doing my thing and just getting to know him and so on. And I asked him, it's always a little scary, but I said, so I presume you're a member of the Islamic tradition? And he got a little tense, and he said, why, yes. And I said, do you go to mosque? And he said, well, no, I don't, but I do pray 5 times a day. And then I got to ask him, do you have a nice carpet? And do you have the app on your phone? Because there's an app on the phone that tells you when the 5 times a day are. They're not always at the same time because of the seasons and the moon and so on. I think it's the moon. But we had this really beautiful conversation between 2 spiritual practitioners. And in this time of open season on Muslims, that you can say anything you want. And I just wanted to mention that I had I forget how it came up, but I said, well, I said something like, well, and of course the Taliban are not practicing Islam. And he loved that he said, oh, they're so far afield, and it was quite lovely. It's a beautiful encounter. 30 years old, he's got 2 ice cream shops in malls, and making quite a good living, and 2 little boys, and a very sweet encounter, which will always be there for me. I love doing a purchase like that, because then whenever I see that car, I'll remember this lovely man, Eric, from Azerbaijan. So anybody sitting with something you'd like to share before we go? So let's sing to each other. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. May all beings receive all blessings. And we'll do it 3 times. Are you ready? Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Have a lovely day, dear friends.
Bye, Francine.
What harmony today.
I'm glad to be back. I've traveled for the last 2 weeks, and boy, there's some crazy stuff out there, but I was a calm observer, so thank you for the support for all of that.
We missed you.
Well, I was on the Sea of Cortez kayaking, so.
Oh my.
That was meditating with the dolphins.
Did you swim with the sea lions?
No, I don't know how to swim, so I try to not get wet.
Good idea.
Yeah, it's the breathing in the water part that I don't understand. Yeah, maybe someday. Yeah.
I did something like that, kayaking in the Sea of Cortez one time. It was really a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
Dawn and the dolphins are so curious. They come right up to the kayaks.
Yeah.
And stare at you. They stare right in your face. Mm-hmm. Lovely to be back because, like I said, it's pretty nutty out there what people fuss about.
Yeah.
Of course, the dolphins were sitting there saying, those humans, they stare us right in the face.
That was good, David.
I love you, Dave.
Back at you.
All right.
Thanks, everyone. Bye, Robert.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, everyone.
Ciao.
Goodbye, dear friends on